Okay, welcome to the show. James Rink here. So that animation sequence was courtesy of Thomas Alvin. Go check out his work. I've actually interviewed him twice. Well, actually more than that. But today we're going to be going with talking to Laura Worley, and this is the second time she's been on this show. Thank you, Laura, for coming on here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So audience members in the chat, thank you also for participating today. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And let me go ahead. Let's start off with a bio for people who are not familiar with your work.
Okay.
So Laura Worley will be sharing some information about today anyway, about the dormant military, MKUltra and NWO Army programming, in the hopes that it can be shut down. Laura Worley is from a multiple generational abuse family who was brought into the monarch program of MKUltra. Her grandmother was part of a fertility cult and was targeted to be trained in the womb. As a child, she was utilized as a witch twin and sex slave to be groomed later in her life for her photographic abilities as a messenger, or a mule, I guess. So she has interacted with dignitaries such as President Nixon, Bill Clinton, Hilary Clinton, and Kissinger. She has, and when she was in her 30s, she began to recall SRA abuse, which started, I guess, during her with therapy sessions. But at that point, it wasn't very helpful because most of the practitioners were skeptical. I guess they probably still are anyway, at least in this particular topic. Eventually, she became certified and trained herself in holistic modalities that would help her heal her wounds. She then became a practitioner herself to help other people release emotions and the pain of trauma. She wrote the book, Puzzle Pieces to the Cabal, Mind Control and Slavery, based on her own experience as a survivor of ritual abuse. Today, Laura Worley is a speaker, trainer, coach, and author. She has successfully helped thousands of people around the world address issues stemming from complex trauma and ritual abuse. Laura trains both clients and caring professionals in unique and powerful techniques that help survivors transform their lives. As the creator of the Worldwide Transformational Summit, she has interviewed over 85 of the top global authors and motivational speakers in the field of transforming lives. So her websites are puzzlepiecestogether.com and laurajworley.com. So yeah, be sure everybody go check that out. So and also check the book out as well. So is that what you wanted to focus on today here, the book, or did you have what's your idea?
I would love to just focus on helping people understand what the New World Order programming is, because we're going through it right now. Like, we're living in it. And so I'm trying to really warn people to find out if you may have it. I'm going to teach you some ways that you can ask yourself, or you can ask a friend, a partner, to help you find out if you have it in really simple ways. The New World Order, probably everybody knows by now what that is. Probably everybody knows about the Great Reset and how they're all trying to bring that to pass. So I'm not going to waste my time on that. But what I want to share is the New World Order programming is literally something that anybody that has ever had MKUltra programming, even if you've been in the military, you may not even know that you have had some form of this programming put in you so they can activate you when they need you. So the New World Order programming is all over the world, and there are millions of people that have this, and most people do not know they have it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to explain something to you that might seem kind of surprising. The New World Order programming started, if you have any kind of mind control programming at all, when you were little. They always were programming you for the New World Order takeover, so that they will rule and give it over to Lucifer. So you've always been trained in that in different ways. But this is a specific program that they gave you a job. They conditioned you for your job, and your job, you are to do it in the New World Order. Now, they did this for years, but they weren't ready to actually activate or bring this forth. But now they literally are, and they're activating people. So I want to tell you who has jobs in it. all the way up to a president of a country, a prime minister of a country, all the way down to somebody like Antifa. They all have their job to do. They have codes, handles, numbers, and stages. Okay, everybody knows the stages. And so, what can I tell you? The stage we're in right now, that was literally programmed into all of us, the war stage. That's why I know they're not going to stop. They're going to keep going through this war because they programmed millions of people that that's the next sign of the New World Order coming in. So each one is a sign. So I can tell you for sure in the programming that the war is part of it. I pray this doesn't happen, you guys, but this is actually in the programming. The next thing is going to happen is going to be in the United States. I don't know if it's different in different countries. Apologize on that. But there's going to be a takeover in the United States. There will be literal bombs, very big things that are going to happen in the US. Now, I pray it doesn't happen, but I'm telling you, according to the programming, okay? So this will be the next stage. It will be another sign for everybody under programming. Your unconscious, the parts of you'll say, okay, we're in this stage now. So each one, now what their ultimate goal is that they will take over the United States. They're going to call martial law. Now I think they're going to do the martial law everywhere. And that's when they can have martial law power. The government, as we know it, of the U.S. will not stand. It will be who they bring in. And guess where a great deal of people that have this programming are going to be in? Unfortunately, you're going to be part of the army that starts to round people up, killing people. Your part in it will be to when they tell you. But a great many people, especially the people in the military who don't even have MKUltra programming, they've just been in the military for a while. They probably chipped you, and they can activate the chip, and the chip can cause you to be super angry and then act out of that. They'll be able to control you out of the anger to do what they want for the rounding up of people. But everybody has their own specific job. And so everybody is aware of what happened with the Prime Minister Trudeau. I knew he wasn't going to give in, even though he should have. And I'll tell you why. The reason why he didn't give in is because if he did, he would be killed and punished. His job was to do exactly what he did, just as it is with every prime, like our president, even though he's the fake president. In the other places, they all have their job. They cannot quit, even if it sounds ridiculous, stupid, it doesn't make any sense. They have a job to do, and if they don't do it, they will be punished, killed, as well as each and every single person that has a job in this. So how that works, very organized, is like, let's say that you're here, you're on the top. So you're going to tell somebody underneath you, and that person's going to tell the next person until it gets all the way down to the lowest person. And that's how they're going to communicate orders. So orders can change. And they also make it so that things can change no matter what. So this is what I'm trying to tell people right now, is that if you have this programming, I'm going to show you some ways that you can find out from a friend or partner or even yourself, because you have to know if you have it. And I can just tell you, there's no way you don't if this is your background. So I don't know if you want me to go into that right now or.
Well, how about we start off? Let's just go back a little bit here.
Okay.
Let's start off with how many people do you think, well, maybe here in the US, how many people do you think have this type of NWO programming?
I'm going to say probably millions, at least, over 1 million for sure. Because it's everyone. Like you could be 60, you could be 80, you could be 40, you could be 20, you can be 10. You're going to have it all. So.
And so how do you think these people were programmed? I would assume it covertly against their knowledge, since everything, I mean, most people if they're sleepers, they're not aware that they've been programmed this way. So what do you think was done to them and how?
Well, part of it is just part of what they do. And so I'd like everybody to understand this is I honestly didn't even understand it for a very long time. is, did you know, and this is the big kicker, and I'm going to save you years and years and years and years of therapy. They do the same programming to everyone. Yes, you may be called to do a different job according to what they want you for, but you still have the basic programming. The basic programming is going to start with an organized plan. I did not know this. I thought it was just here, there, miss, you have this program, you have that program, and everybody's different. It's not the truth. They are very organized, and they have a plan, and it does start in the womb. And I honestly, the last time I was on here, I just told you that it was, the witchcraft and stuff. They do start it in the womb, but they are implanting, I don't know if people know about this, the Cabal tree. The Cabal tree represents Lucifer's kingdom, and it's based on Kabbalah Jewish mysticism. I'm not going to go into that fully here, but basically the whole Lucifer's kingdom is based on the Kabbalah and having the tree of death. Every single soul that's ever been under mind control, and I don't care what you've been in, what you've been used as, you have the basic foundational programming, and that is the Kabbalah tree. What they do is, on the foundation, they add different pieces of the programming to you. Somebody might be a super soldier. Somebody might be like I was a messenger, sex slave. So that was my job. So other people have jobs that they're trained to do, but we all have the basic foundational programming. And that's because no matter where you go, how many handlers, how many scientists are going to work on you, they already know what you have a basic of. So this whole programming, why are they doing this, is because they need an army for the New World Order. They need an army for right now. And I'm going to tell you something, you guys. It's a little disturbing, but it is true. And I don't know if it was before then. I'm going to tell you what I personally know through several people. Between 2011 and 2019, people who were older, and they also they were in quite a bit of their healing already. I'm going to talk about three that I would like to share because it tells a lot. Three of them. They live in different places. One's not even in this country. In 2015, they were all brought back and reconditioned. That means they were all, always had that program laying dormant. Well, in 2015, they thought Hilary Clinton was going to win. So they took this 2015, before she was supposed to get the presidency, and they took a whole bunch of the MKULTRA people back to be reconditioned and updated so that they would be ready to do when Hillary came in. Okay, so now that reconditioning programming didn't go into effect right away, but it is in effect now, and it has been for a couple years. So unfortunately, they took back several people, and I want to tell you three of their experiences. They did not remember that they were taken back. But what did happen? They all three had horrific things that happened in their lives. And it was their cover story. And the cover story was, they just remembered, oh, I had this horrible accident, and I've never been the same. I can't think the same. I'm really intelligent and I can do all these things, and I can't do it now. Another person said the similar thing. It wasn't an accident, but it was something else, that she got sick and it didn't make any sense. And ever since then, she can't do what she has always done. Third person started going off the deep end and doing all these things, behaviors that this person did not do. So undercover, all of this stuff is that they were taken back and reconditioned to be called for their new job in this New World Order programming.
So it sounds like a side effect would be missing time, perhaps. chunks of your life.
Yeah, or just something super weird that happened. Like, so I would ask you, I would just ask, especially, it doesn't have to be this year, but did anything to happen to any of you in 2015 that was extremely weird? That was like maybe really horrible, doesn't make sense. You acted weird, you got in an accident, you got sick, something that just doesn't make sense to you. Or between 2011 and 2019, ask yourself if anything weird happened in those years. It doesn't necessarily, so I don't want to say, oh, it means this, but I'm just saying that's what they were doing, is they were specifically bringing people back. And I actually do have some other things that specific people were involved. I don't think I can share with that right now, but so one of the things with the New World Order, oh, sorry.
Yeah, well, I remember in that time period, the whole super soldier community was extremely fragmented. Very few people were getting along. So I'm assuming maybe that could have been part of that. But
they took a lot of people back because they wanted them ready. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
They wanted them ready because they were going to do it. So they did some really bad things. Like they almost some people got a new program it's like you had this old thing, right? And they came in and they put in something almost brand new, if that makes any sense. Like they updated it. What you had, you've always had, but they kind of changed things and put you through a whole different process. And then I am going to share this part is during that time, there was a huge ritual that bring in Hilary Clinton. And what that means is people from all over the world will get together, and it's on a specific day, as most of you know, so they can call down the powers of Lucifer. And they actually did this to bring in the New World Order. There was a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of people that are at the very top that are involved in ushering this in. And specifically, there are some that are in charge of it. So I'm not ready to really say that right now, but they're definitely doing their job. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, how about let's go to well, here's a good question. How do we know if we think we are a sleeper? How do we know what our job is, when we're going to be activated?
Okay, so if you have this history, I would suggest, and I know a lot of people can't do it, but it is very helpful if you can, is write. I have had so much of memories very specifically come up, if not logic writing, just freehand writing. You don't pay attention. Like you can, if you want to, you can call upon a part to speak and write freehand, or you can just say, you know what, you can focus on a specific thing and start writing. If you can't do that, I can show you some specific ways to do this. Okay. They're just simple ways that you're going to do it for yourself. Another one is if people are familiar with muscle testing, I would ask you that you ask somebody else to muscle test for you, because you probably might be inverted, which means yeses are nos and nos are yeses. But somebody can muscle test for you and ask specific questions for you about your involvement, or if you're involved, or if you have this programming. Body code is a great way that I have found out a lot of things for both clients and myself. There is another couple ways, and I'm going to help you hopefully understand it. So one of them is if you ask yourself a question, or if somebody asks you, I like this way the best, but you may not have that opportunity. So you ask a question, and your unconscious mind will always answer, and it will always answer first. And it will always answer honestly. And after that, your logic mind comes in and says, no, that's not true. But if you ask yourself a question, your unconscious mind will answer, but you have to believe it. And so I like somebody else to ask, because I think it's more powerful, but you may not have that. So you may have to just say, do I have this New World Order Army programming? Yes or no, first thought. And that's what I do with my clients constantly. I'll ask them a question and I'll say first thought. Because if you go past the first thought, you've already went into the logic mind, and your logic mind does not know. Okay, so now we're going to go to another one, is your unconscious mind has to answer when you say the word because. So you could say, I am feeling blank because. This can go into anything. So you can tailor the question and say because, and then we're going to go back to the principle of first thought. So I am feeling blank because what first thought, what does your unconscious mind say? That's the answer. Write it down. And you can keep going. You keep asking that question over and over until your unconscious mind is done. Like, won't give you any more answers. So that's another just quick, easy way. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a therapist who can help you, then I would suggest that you and that therapist start looking at finding out if you have it. They'll have their own tools. These are just some tools that you can still use with a therapist. The other thing is, somebody had said, like in all of this, there's a suicide programming. And suicide programming and alarm systems are easily taken care of them. And people are going to say, that's crazy. That's not true. But it is true. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what I've used, and it works all the time. Okay, so if you have an alarm system or a suicide program that goes off, we're all electromagnetic, right? We're all energy. Everything is energy. Even this programming is a form of energy in our mind. It's not real anymore because we're not in a lab in this moment. I am having an interview. So if I have a memory, it's in my mind as a kind of an energy. So why can't we address that energy and release that energy, that program, that thought? So what I do use, and it works simply, is body code. And I will muscle test and find out what it's connected to. I don't have to have a lot of detail. I don't need that, but I can get some basics of what this is connected to. And a lot of it is telling your unconscious mind to go find wherever it is, gather up all the symbols, numbers, colors, everything involved, because your unconscious mind can do this in 2 seconds flat. So you command the unconscious mind to go and gather it all. And then we're literally going to take a magnet, and we're going to use meridian systems. If people know about body code or tapping, we use meridian systems, which is kind of like a highway for the unconscious to the body communication. So we're gonna use that, and we just use this magnet. It's neodymium. I like to get the strong ones, and I just order on Amazon. And I get this meridian system goes from the eyebrow, top of your head, all the way down your neck. And I do it 10 times. I do this with not only suicide programs, but I have done with alarm systems. I don't get into all the details because we already know they generally have some basic things. So you can just tell your unconscious mind to go grab that right now. And then I top it off with something very important. I command the entities that are attached to it that they will leave, that they have no power here. And I do pray to Jesus Christ, to Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ, that they will come in and take care of and remove that, and remove the entities who are making that happen, because the entities are also attached to this. And you guys, unfortunately, I know a lot of people, they don't want to talk about God or get involved with God, and that's because you've been taught and punished to not have a relationship with God. If you come from any kind of mind control programming, they definitely want you to have no relationship with God. That's a big no-no. So I understand that part.
But also, I do want to mention the Christian church here, at least in the United States, is also very hostile to this information. They're not willing to really recognize that we have these type of programs. I think a lot of people don't want.
This isn't about church. I don't even want. We're not going no church. Okay, this is about you and your relationship with God and Jesus. And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't believe in that. I'm going to tell you something, and I will tell you, you try it. You can try and see what I'm saying and see if it works, and if it doesn't work. So Lucifer, this is all about Lucifer, correct? This is all about building Lucifer's kingdom, period. He, in all programming, he layers in entities. Entity after entity after entity they all layered in. The military, the Illuminati, Freemasons, all of them, they layer in when they do the programming, the entities. And I'll tell you why. They're downloading entities into you layered at a time because they know that their programming will not literally stay so long or as good or as strong without the entities. That's why there's not one without the other, guys. And the entities keep things in place. They keep the torment going. You and I talked about for a minute, they can literally take the memories that you have outside your body so you can't find them. Literally, I'm seriously taking them out of your body. I think they're still there to some degree, but they take them out of your body and put them in a different location. You have to understand this is all about a couple principles. Everything else is built upon that. Everything that this new world order, what they're trying to accomplish is they're trying to bring in the kingdom to turn it over to Lucifer. That's why they want all of us as slaves and under their authority to not be able to worship, not be able to have free will, because everything has to be in accordance to Lucifer. So this is what the Great Reset is about. This is what this programming is about. This is about everything they've ever done to harm you and torture you and rape you and take your humanity away, your free will, and made you a slave, is because they're doing this all for Lucifer. And all Lucifer has done, and believe me, guys, I've done so much research, so much, and God has shown me so much. That's why I speak very freely of it, because I know of the truth of it. Is God had built his kingdom, and he gave us all free will, and he loves us, and we are magnificent to him. We are so important to him. And Lucifer took every single teaching that God ever had and turned it on its head and built his kingdom. Lucifer can't create. He can't recreate. He can't produce a child or any of that. So what he does is he steals everything from God. And so when God says, don't kill somebody, don't hurt children, what is Lucifer's kingdom built on? With all the programming, what is it built on? It's built on killing and hurting. That's all it's built on. So you have to understand, we're not in I'm going to the military and I have this programming and it means nothing. You don't understand. It means everything. And it's spiritual. We're in a spiritual war. We're in God he gives us free will and we get to live this life and choose. But Satan's world is you get no free will. You get no choice. You get nothing, right? Except what he says you can have. And that's through torture and rape and everything that he does, and makes you into these people that are not you. It's not you that are doing these things. So we have to understand what we're fighting. And so you as a person cannot say to an entity of any authority, because they all have different authorities. They're not all the same. Okay. There's some entities that are down here, some entities way up here, and they don't have to obey you, and they will not obey you. Who they will obey is Jesus Christ. And do you know why? Because his authority is greater than theirs. Jesus has already won this war. Lucifer has lost. But the problem is right now he has free reign. So he's going to bring down all of us as much as he can. So every single person, I promise you, if you try to fight this war by yourself, you will lose. And I'm not saying this to be mean, but I'm telling you a fact. You can't do it alone. And you can only do it by someone who has a higher authority over Lucifer and all of his minions who are entities. So that's kind of the bottom line. Like, we're in a war, you guys. We're in a war right now to stop the New World Order, because unless you want to be part of Lucifer's kingdom, literally, we have to fight. We have to fight right now. And that's what I'm trying to wake people up. So.
Okay, thank you, Laura. So what I like to do right now is just read something from my book, Lone Wolf, and I just want to get your feedback on what do you think they're trying to do to us. So this is a warning for those people out there who are listening. If you have children here, you may not want to let them continue listening. But okay, so sometimes they would do a ritual sacrifice on us, and after we died, we would be put into a regen tank, and then they would do it to us over and over again. The Draco, who told us our parents hated us, that we were batteries, and would be forced to bow on the red carpet to the Draco Prince every day. We were forced into black mass rituals in which they would take this square open box, and the Draco Prince would use his black fingernail to cut your blood, like they cut a pentagram into your chest, and you bleed, and they mix it with their blood, and they would make this or an upside down cross, and then you would have to stare at them in a confessional slot booth to bond our PSI with the Draco. The Draco who did this to us were inhabited by some of the lower level minions from hell, and they were hoping that these sessions would help us bond with them so that they can gain power over us, or power over his superiors, the other Draco superiors, during a planned NWO takeover that never happened on this timeline. So these particular Draco are known as low-born Thuban Draco. They are a subrace of Draco at the bottom of the food chain in the Orion Empire. So do you have any information on what do you think that thing about the mixing with the blood, or even the side bonding where you stare at a Draco in a booth? What do you think that's all about?
Well, I think it's all about going back to Lucifer. I think it's about you being bonded, coveted, all through somebody's life that has this programming. You're going to do rituals, and those rituals are what? You tell me. What are the rituals for?
Well, I'm thinking they're trying to incorporate some kind of black magic to bring entities, to attach entities into us so that they can control us. The problem is the star seeds that were involved at Montauk were so high. I mean, we're basically like ascended angels, even though some of us might be cyborgs. But so when you're trying to mix oil water, it just doesn't work. And ultimately what happened is we ended up raising the consciousness of the people involved to the point where they just had to check out. They had to leave. And then it became a little bit more positive. I need to say more positive. I wouldn't say any of that was positive, but it wasn't as negative, I guess, back then. Anyway, near the later end of the tail end of the Montauk projects.
I think it's all really entities. They want permission to have entities take over your body. They also, did you guys know that the people that are doing the rituals, this is all a sacrifice, offering to Satan, every single one of them. Okay, so that's the way it is. They also over and over and over are binding you to Lucifer and his entities, and they force your permission. They can do a lot of shape shifting they can take over your body. They can, especially because you're not allowed to say no, but that's the key. You have to start renouncing anything that's been done to you and say no, because they are legalists, and they will always go by permission, even though that permission is so not true. You didn't give it, but in a way you did, because you didn't say no. And other people will like in Harry Potter, when they download, they would pull out the memories, and people would be downloaded into him that mean whatever he was. I forgot his name, but that's kind of what they do. Literally, like, people will download themselves, a part of them inside of you. I'm going to tell you a couple things that I think you earlier said is, do you possibly, maybe you can guess why they might want to constantly torture you to bring you to death. And then during that death period, they're downloading stuff to you, what they want inside of you, because it's easier. You can't fight back. They also capture a part of you, like a part of your spirit. They take it, and I hope this doesn't sound too weird, because it is a little weird to me still, but they do capture a part of you and take that part to, hopefully I can say this but anyway, the underworld, where there really is great evil. There's different locations and dimensions that are really dedicated for Lucifer. And so you're constantly being put to death. And during that interim, your soul leaves your body. They try to capture a piece of you when you're leaving. They download the entities. They download the programming. But they also they can't do one thing and stop. And that's what helped me, is the many times they killed me, is I would actually, when my soul left, I would go to the other side. And that's why I know Jesus is real, because he strengthened me. And I can't even count how many times they did that to me. And they do it to all of us that have been programmed. So I think there's a part of our soul that knows there's something much more than all this, and it keeps us going, because none of us should be alive, really. It doesn't make sense how any of us have survived it, and yet we have. So that must mean that we're magnificent beings, and we're very powerful, and we just have to use it in the right way.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, or I guess in my early 20s, I had a visitation from Archangel Michael would visit me, gave me a torch of blood. I'm not quite sure how to interpret that one, but I did also have visions of Jesus on the cross and so on. But I mean, I was also heavily religiously indoctrinated as well at that time. But I do feel like the higher beings that appear to us come to us at a point in our lives to let us know that we're going to be okay, and they go within our own programming as well to honor our soul path and development wherever that might be. So if you're involved in a different religion, it might be another one of the and a lot of these gods and goddesses, I mean, they all work with a lighted council. So it's not just like, I mean, even though there's a universal consciousness of God per se, but a lot of us fragments thereof. Okay, so let's go to next question. How about we go back to the I guess we're doing the black mass programming, so when the black mass awakens. So if the memories were if they can erase memories while we're being programmed, could they also insert new memories too?
Yes.
So it could be possible you may have thought that you might have had this job somewhere, or maybe you went on vacation somewhere to the beach, but it might have been totally something different. Okay.
They do, and they also will do that in the programming of making you believe somebody hurt you when they didn't. But they always do that with Jesus. They always have Jesus rape you, even though it's not Jesus, it's an entity and them. So that's just, they do that all the time. They make you believe certain people are doing certain things when they aren't, to keep you away from your family members, God in general, really. But yeah, they can, and they do. They however they want to control you, they can put those memories in. So I know that's horrible.
So if this scenario was to take place and these sleepers would be activated, do you think they would not be able to recall their other life? It would just be put into a little pocket into their head, and they would just be living a new program?
If they get activated, they'll do it. They'll just go into their part that usually it'll be several parts that has the New World Order programming. They'll be activated with specific words and they already know every stage of this New World Order. So when they see it actually happen, it's taking them further into their programming. And then when they're activated, they will do it. Just like, when you're in a program state, you're going to do whatever they said, right?
And do you think most people are just going to go along with it?
I don't think it's a decision. Just like, when you were in the MKULTRA, well, all of us, whenever, right? We were in that. Were we awake to go do all this horrible stuff? We were in a state that was controlled.
Well, I tried to resist, but it didn't. Usually, if you resisted, that meant you either had to be put into the cage and forced to eat feces, or no food at all. So I guess they do have ways of motivating you to cooperate.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll just tell you the basic facts. If you're alive today, you did what they said. I'm sorry, there's no other, you can't tell me and that you're alive today and you didn't do what they said, because I'm going to tell you that's not true. You wouldn't be alive. If you don't do what they said, you're dead, period. And every single person and I'm just saying another thing, this might be a little hard. It was certainly hard for me for many years, is to accept that you've hurt other people. be under programmed state. And that's a really hard thing to accept as well, because you as a human being would never do those things, right? In your free will choice, but they make you do it because they need to control you and make you feel like you're unsalvageable. God will never forgive you. You know, you're a piece of crap. You know, look what you've done. You're just like us. It's that kind of thing. It's all a part of control. But at the same time, you have to realize you have to trust your heart. And what is your heart? What would your heart do? Your free will choice do? If your free will choice would go hurt somebody, free will knowingly, well, you're definitely responsible for that. And it's not that we're not responsible for any harm we've caused, but if you're under a mind control program state, how can you be responsible for that? Because I just don't feel like God holds us accountable for something is not our free will.
Well, one of the things they made us do is they handed us up a puppy, or it could have been a kitten, but for me it was a puppy, and they instructed us to kill it. And if we didn't do it, and we would, like I said, would be tortured again. So in that regards,
you guys remembering this though, they create a many parts that will do the job, right? That's why they torture you until they create a part of your mind that will be cut off from your humanity, and that part will do it because it doesn't know anything else. So it's not even a logical feeling thing. It's just this part of your mind knows it has to do this thing. That's it. It doesn't know good, right, wrong, bad. It doesn't know it. So I hope people can understand that about yourself. You know, you had to split your mind to live. And it's just compartmentalized in those little parts that could do a job for you and keep you alive. So that's the power of the unconscious and the mind, right? It can do amazing things for you to keep you alive. So it's not a bad thing what your mind was able to do for you. Like when people say DID or whatever, that's not a bad thing, because a DID means you were in such a traumatic state that if you didn't split your mind, you would die. So your mind made a way to do it. That's a good thing.
All right. So now let's go a little bit more into where do you think the memories missing memories are in people involved in these programs? Someday it's like outside the body, maybe the astral body where these altars are taking place, and not exactly inside the brain. The brain's more of a processor. The memories aren't really in here. That's why you could get a lobotomy and still remember. It just may not be as good.
I think it's probably always imprinted into us, but I was taught something from another practitioner, and then it kind of was led into one of her clients stating some things, and then it's a long story, but anyway, then I was led to the discovery of a great many things. And I almost feel like I would have to go into this huge, large explanation, but a short explanation is, let's say that we're here and we have this programming. Okay. So this is in the womb, and by 2, we already have the foundation of the Kabbalah tree, which is the representation and download of Lucifer and all of his characteristics and everything about him. Okay. And dedicating to him. So we're dedicated by 3 to him. And this keeps going on through, certain ages. It's a rededication. Eventually you have to marry, and anyway, marry him. There are dimensions of that are, I don't even know how to explain it, so I'm so sorry, but there are different dimensions, and he has a place, and it's called second heaven. It's where Lucifer resides, and some of his highest entities, and whoever the programming that's inside. People will have to work their way up to get to Lucifer. And this is supposed to be a privilege. I do not consider it a privilege, but in this kingdom that we've all been programmed in, that's where there might be more than one, but I know of one specific entity that literally takes the memories and stores them and up in a different place. And so you can ask that Jesus Christ come and retrieve your memories, or the angels of God come and retrieve the memories and bring them back. They are yours. And some people say, well, I don't want to remember all that. And I don't want to remember everything either, but I have to know what happened to me because it's my life. And they can't steal that from you, because if they steal it from you, then they have power over you if you don't know what happened. I don't think God wants us to go to every horrible thing that ever happened, but I think we have to know. I think we have to know what happened to us, because if we don't, they will always have a power. And this kind of leads me back to reiterating, we all have the same programming. Okay, guys. We all have a foundational programming. I did not know that until just a few years ago. I spent 25 years in therapy trying to find out. And you know, oh, you have Alice in Wonderland programming. Oh, you have Wizard of Oz programming. Oh, you have this programming. You have that program. Well, I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't matter because that isn't the foundation. And if you do not go to the foundational Kabbalah trees, the trees and the foundation, you will never, ever get free. I don't care what program they've done to you, because it's all layered in to the foundations. So my second book, I am going to go very thoroughly and explain all the pieces, okay, so that you can remove it. I'm going to show some ways to remove them and be more specific, because my first book is more about the pieces, so you can understand small amount. I feel like it was basic 101 when I wrote that book. This one is going to be really deep. It's going to go into very heavy things that you have to know to get free. And I'm going to show you ways to get free. If you don't know this, you won't get free. And I can speak from my experience. And I do not want you guys to spend 30 years of your life trying to get free. So, but you know, they've hid this. And it's very interesting. If I can tell you guys a quick story. In 2019, God started showing me the importance of the Kabbalah tree. I did not know this, you guys. He started showing me everything. Like, I did not even understand the authorities of Lucifer and the entities, that they're all different layered. Okay, so they're all different authorities, and how everything is built on God's kingdom. He just turned it opposite. Well, I know that part, but I didn't understand fully about this Kabbalah. So I started looking, and I found real basic stuff. And you guys, they've hit it so well. So interesting thing is, this literally just happened to me about 3 or 4 months ago. I got to this point and I was really stuck. And I'm like, God, I need some help. Can you show me where to go? He led me to something that was like the mother lode of information. And it was from another person who, and I find this so interesting, you guys, in 2019, and she's in a different country. She's a practitioner that worked with many practitioners over there, and one over in the US. But all of us, all three of us in 2019 were taught the principles that it is the foundation of everything. So I'm going to save you 1,000 years of average for, you know, if you can get a therapist to help you, that's what you got to do. So the Lord showed me that you have to map out what's happened. So that's the same thing with the New World Order. You have to map out what they've done to you. I personally have found everything through writing. It isn't a logical writing. It's a writing to just freehand. You don't think about grammar. You don't think period. You let the inner you who knows about this write. And that's how I pretty much got all of it, you guys. Is because you already know what's been done to you. It's in there. And that's just one easy way to get it. There's some other ways, but it goes more into therapy, and you have to do therapy type things to kind of activate the unconscious to start telling you what to do. Because I help people with suppressed memories. But it's a little bit of a process. So.
All right. Thank you. Well, could you comment about people that are sleepers, and they are aware they've probably been programmed in such a way, but they don't want to do any work about it. They just want to forget about it and just live their lives. Do you think they can be helped as well, or are they just probably going to just go along with the programming?
Well, if they don't, it comes down to you. If you don't want help, you're not going to get help. I mean, everybody around you can want you to get help, but you can't. It doesn't matter. You have to want it. So if they don't want it, they just want to go live their life. I can tell you they won't be free, They can pretend if they want, which will always take them down a bad road.
So what happens with people that have MPD, DID type programming, multiple personality disorder, and they're just and if they just choose to ignore it, will their lives continue to implode and get worse and worse, or can will their body naturally try to start healing itself? Because maybe I mean, I read somewhere, I don't remember where this was, but it takes about 70 years to heal the severe trauma. So in our lives, the human life is usually expires after 77, depending whether you're a male or female. So and the elites or the Anunnaki who degraded our DNA to make us live short lives probably knew that, so they just wanted. So what do you think? How can we help people that I guess don't want to be helped? I guess?
Well, that's unfortunate because you can't, and that doesn't matter what background they have. It doesn't matter if if we weren't even talking about MKUltra, it was just somebody who had an addiction. If they don't want to be helped, you can't help them, because they're not gonna. When you want help and you say you want help, the help arrives, and you will get help from heaven and the angels, and you will get help, but you have to ask for it. They don't impede on your free will.
Yeah, I know other people that are super soldiers or in these projects, and they just don't want to deal with any of this stuff. They just want to forget about it, live their life, and yeah. So I guess at that point, you have to just. I mean, what I do is just let it go, let them go, and
you have to. I mean, unfortunately, because if they want to, what are you going to do? Like, if they won't look, because this is hard work looking at what they've done. Like, it's hard work.
Well, these are people that were actually like on my unit, my squad, and I worked with them for a short period of time, and then that's it. They just couldn't handle it anymore. They just wanted to continue just to have a normal life. So
I know it's sad, because a lot of people can feel that way, that they don't want to deal with it. But I will tell you something: it doesn't matter what your life has been. You can't run away from yourself. You can't run away from what's been done, and you can't run away from what's in your unconscious mind, because your unconscious mind controls your life, and it will create from what it holds. So you can't run away from it. You can try to push it down in all the million different ways, but I find it eventually gets a hold of you. So I don't know.
All right. So, well, my next question here was about Army programming. It was when you say Army programming, is that the same thing as NWO Army programming, or okay? Yeah. Okay, so that's.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Some people call it end time programming. I call it New World Order programming. So New World Order Army programming. That's what I call it. So.
All right. Thank you. So then we have this other question. Tell us about the witchcraft aspect of the programming. And I know you've already discussed a little bit about the Kabbalah, and certainly there's that alpha, gamma, delta, the beta, the different type of altars. So how would they arrange all this in a grid, the creation of these altars?
Well, this is the thing. Witchcraft is used by every organization. So if it's Illuminati, Freemason, they're all using witchcraft. Now, there is a group called a fertility cult, where it can be just women or just men that are practicing spiritual witchcraft. In the Bible, it talks a lot about witchcraft, and how even back in the day of the Old Testament, they were practicing witchcraft and sacrificing. So this has been going on forever. All the programming is witchcraft. I hate to say it, because they're involving entities, and witchcraft are calling on entities to do whatever they want to do. Sometimes it's kind of the worst thing to deal with, because it's all spiritual evil. And unfortunately, even the military use it. So does all the programming that you ever receive. It's all the same. I mean, we call it different names, but at the end of the day, it's all the same.
Can witchcraft be used for good? What do you think about pot? Yeah.
No. Because witchcraft is calling upon entities. Entities cannot be good. Now, I will tell you a fable, and I hope none of you believe it. I literally heard this on a podcast not too long ago, and they were saying the entities, that you can try to turn them to God. And I'm going to tell you, no, you cannot. And it 100% cannot. And I'll tell you why. They made their decision. They made their choice. They made their choice and said, we came to the earth. We have a body. They don't. They chose to rebel. So no, you can't turn them here. If that's given to them at some later point when this world's over, that's not up to us. But in this world, not happening. So don't even try it, because it's just a way to entrap you. Some people say, how about the dead human spirits? You know, people that have died but haven't completely gone over because they won't accept Christ. They want to kind of still live in their evil stuff that they were doing here. I don't know. I just personally wouldn't get involved in it, but I don't know if they can be or not.
Well, I had a client that was engaging in a type of magic in which he would create his own egregore, or his own entity, using his own chi energy and animating it with the the astral field. So so this wasn't necessarily an entity that I guess he created it himself, and it had its own consciousness, but it's not like he invited some other entity to come in when he made it himself. I know, I guess we're kind of how ethical that is, I'm not really sure.
I know. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't know that I would suggest doing that, but anyway.
He put the entity in some kind of amulet, and he said when he was meditating, the amulet was moving around, and the entity was trying to get out. So I'm not necessarily saying to do that, but I think we, as divine conscious beings, so at least those of us have souls anyway, have the power to manifest, and we can, I believe, I mean, you might call it magic, or maybe this idea of using other parasitic entities and so on, negative ones, probably that would be a line we shouldn't cross. But I think we are a lot more powerful than we give ourselves credit for.
Definitely. We can manifest our life, and I think we have that power to create our life the way we choose. And we do that by our thoughts, really. It's what we're thinking is we can create our life, and how we treat other people. So yeah, we're definitely more powerful than we even know, but we're powerful in a good way. Like, we're so much more than this world. We're so much more than, definitely they told us who we are. We're just so much more. We're a higher being. And if you are a child of God, then you're pretty darn important. And that's the thing they take away from you. Like, so many of my clients will say, I don't feel like, I'm loved. I don't feel any purpose. I feel like I'm a piece of crap. And those are all lies. And that's what they want you to feel so they can control you. But they're all lies.
All right, let's move on here. So we've got, how can we get these programs out of us? What do you think we should do?
Well, you need to find out what they are. And then I actually remove them through using the magnet, the body code. Prayer is a huge one. And I didn't even know that I needed to do this. So once I find out the different programs, the different programming, you have to know the pieces to understand what has been done, and then you can remove it. And that's how I work. And I know some of your listeners will say, oh, I don't want to deal with that. But I'm going to tell you it works. And it's taken me a long time to really, really understand how powerful it is. After I do the work, after I find out what has been done, and I ask for help, of course, I can use body code to help me just find out if there's any other pieces I'm missing. And I can use the magnet to remove the program. But I will tell you, when I am dealing with entities that are in every one of these programs, I have to call on God, and I ask, and I go through all the parts that are in the program, like every piece. And sometimes it will take hours, like literal hours, 14, 15 hours to remove something, because they've done it for years, and it's very detailed. And I believe if you're willing to do the work, God will help you and show you what you have to remove, and then ask him for his help, because you can't remove all the entities. And sometimes the entities are so layered into the program, and there's so many different ones, they have permission to stay. Even if you said a prayer and said, I cast you out, and you need to leave in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Some of them won't. And why is that? It's because they have permission in something you have missed. Like, that's why you have to go and be specific. It's like this lady said, you're going to war when you remove these things, because there are many entities, and Lucifer does not want you to get free. And so you have to call upon the authority that can kick their ass, basically. Sorry for the language, but you need to kick their butts, and you can't do it in just other ways. There's other ways to remove programs and find it, but I'm just finding it's super powerful. I mean, I'm finding amazing things happen, amazing things, you guys. And it seems simple, but it isn't, and yet it's a miracle. So I don't know.
Question. What type of Laura, what type of magnet are you using?
This is a neodymium. You can get it at Amazon. It's kind of like a fisherman's hook, but it's a rare earth magnet. You can get them in different sizes, but I really like them. And just look up Body Code. You can get it for, I think they'll let you rent it. It is a program that has 765 categories. And the goal is your muscle testing to the person's unconscious to direct you on what needs to be removed. Like literally, you guys, I know it sounds crazy, and sometimes I think it is too, but I literally have removed whole programs using Body Code. Because that client, her unconscious mind could tell me, because her field is electromagnetic, so is mine. So when we do Body Code and somebody muscle tests for you, you ask permission. Can I muscle test for you? That means you're getting permission to connect to their electromagnetic field. That means their unconscious can communicate to my unconscious. So then we start the program. There's every category, like even curses, entities, everything on this. And the unconscious mind, it's the quality of the question is the quality of the answer you will receive. So make the question good. And then the unconscious mind will show you through Body Code, and you'll begin to learn all these pieces, things that client or that person yourself you didn't know at a conscious level. And then you start removing it with this. Then I do go to the prayer, and I go to a very strong prayer. And it's not a simple prayer. It's not even an organized prayer. It's just, I go over the pieces that we found. Like, please help us to remove, the jobs, the codes, the colors, the letters, the numbers, the symbols, the torture, the rape, all this. And we're doing it both ways. We're doing it physically. We're doing it spiritually. I also use something I love, and it's amazing, is tapping. Tapping is another way to release emotional pain. And when you're releasing the emotional pain, your unconscious mind will reveal to you. And that's how I've helped enormous amount of people find suppressed memories. We'll use tapping, and it's just a process. It's all going into the unconscious mind. There's so many amazing modalities now that can help you find what you're holding in. And what I have found is when you want to be healed, the healing will show up. You'll get help, and you'll get pieces of information you need. And you always have angels and God to help you. And I know I'm probably saying that too much, but I'm not promoting church. I'm promoting your relationship, period. So that's it. Hopefully, because I'm not telling you anything about church. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah. Well, do you have information on what the Gauss rating is on that magnet, or the pounds?
It's pretty, okay. So it's about, I think I got this one for $13-14 on Amazon, and it looks like this.
All right.
It's a fisherman's hook, basically, but just put in neodymium. I can send a copy if you wanted. I mean, I could send you.
I just want to make sure you're pronouncing that right. Is it neodymium or neodymium?
Well, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but it sounds like the same thing.
All right. Well, all right, great. So how about we go to the next question? Are you using hypnosis or regressions technology in your session work? And what is a typical session is like?
Okay, so what I do is it's a 2-hour session, and it's based on me asking questions to get to the root of the issue. And then from there, when we start the process, the unconscious mind, when you're tapping on meridian points, it's like things shift in your unconscious mind. It's your way to finally understand what's hidden in your mind. And when we do this process, the unconscious mind will reveal to you between each round of tapping just different things of information. Based on my ways of asking questions, the unconscious mind always answers me. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, we'll start the work, and then I'll ask a question, and I'll say first thought. I always say first thought. I use because a lot too, and I get to the answers. Like, somebody will say, I don't feel good enough. And I'll say, I don't feel good enough because, first thought. Okay. Well, I don't feel good enough because of my mom. Okay, well, I don't feel good enough because, and I keep going. I could say it like 5, 7, 10 times until that person can't answer me anymore. And those are the reasons the unconscious believes I don't feel good enough. That's what you have to work with to release. They're just thoughts. And this is all energy, right? It's all energy. So it can be removed. It can be changed. And that's what I use, tactics, tapping, not EFT. EFT is good. It just didn't get deep for me. So I use tactics / faster EFT. And that's really what my life changed. So anyway.
Great. Thank you. Well, the last question we had here was about the Kabbalah, Freemasonry, and Illuminati foundational programming. Certainly, we've already gone into Kabbalah, how they arrange your altars, connect them with demons, or maybe some other process. But what is the connection with Freemasonry and Illuminati foundational programming?
They all use the same thing. That's why and they're all the same people. So, the Illuminati are Freemason, and those are the military, CIA people working. They're all the same groups, and they all use witchcraft. So they have to have a plan. I didn't understand that. The plan is organized, and you will have it. And every single thing of the programming will be done at a certain age in you. So by 2, you have to have all of the Kabbalah teaching, which is the Kabbalah tree, which represents everything about Lucifer's worlds. And in these worlds, it goes into so much crap. It's just unbelievable. And then by 3, you're going to have, this ritual of, being, you were able to survive it. So now you're given to Satan. You go up into 13, they consider that the free will, to choice. They do this other big, huge ritual. But most people don't realize this, at least with this training, it can go up to 19. You have to have your training. See, most people think it's hit and miss. It's not. You have to have training. It's like going to school and going to college almost. You're a baby, and every age of you has a program that you have to complete and finish. And by 19, you have to have it all completed and all finished. And at the end result is you're 100%, even though they keep telling you that at every stage that you're Satan's now. So you have to renounce many covenants, oaths, rituals that were, they basically covenanted you to Satan at all these rituals. So you have to remove that. And you have to remove I find, which is interesting, if you remove a great deal of the programming first, the actual trauma seems a lot less to deal with. And actually, when I want to release things very quickly with somebody, let's say we removed a program, and the trauma, it's not where if I just worked on the trauma and didn't deal with the program. It's very weird that happens, but then you can deal with it pretty easy. I can do tapping. I do body code, and I work with the altars that went through it. It gets removed very, very fast with the magnet going down and removing this from the altar. It's very, very good to work with the altars. You can remove so much for them without this huge re-traumatizing thing. So I don't re-traumatize my patients or my clients, not patients. I'm holistic. I'm not a licensed therapist. Just make sure everybody knows that. So, but what we do works, and it's so important to not be re-traumatized in this. But there's easy ways to do it.
Yeah, so I've noticed that I've done these vowel revisions. I can't just say the word, where you cancel out your contracts, and even if you do that, it seems like because we are multidimensional and we are in other alternate realities at the same time, other realms of existence. They're using contracts that we've made in these other alternate realities to gain a foothold over here. So how do we go about reversing even those type of contracts where they might just get a little tiny bit and then they want to take a whole mile? So what do you think?
Are you saying they're kind of taking a part of your humanity?
Well,
or
like for
or
instance,
part of you somehow?
yeah, like they would have, like for me, I would be utilized in another program, perhaps being used as a super soldier off world. So they're using that particular contract to hold you over here,
Mhm.
to experiment on you, like take tissue samples to make clones to be used over there. And you could go over and over again and say, I don't consent, I don't consent. But then of course you're not supposed to use the word don't anyway, because the subconscious doesn't recognize don't.
I renounce this, but yes, you can renounce, and that's part of it, but it won't be enough because you have to remove the program itself. You have to remove the program and the pieces out of the part, and then the part has to heal. And you know what, guys? I just learned this. I'm teaching you so many things I have learned just recently. This thought came to me. I was doing this work, and God showed me this, and I started using it. I was like, oh my gosh, it works so good. Okay, so the parts inside of you have been taught Lucifer is God, Lucifer is good, Lucifer is so wonderful, Lucifer is everything, is amazing. So, do you know what part of the healing is for your part when you get some of this done? Your part has to see who Lucifer truly is and who God truly is. And you can let them, the part of you, experience the frequency of God, the true Jesus. I call him Jesus, Heavenly Father, whatever, Father and Son. But anyway, I let that frequency, and you let them experience the frequency of Satan. And then you let them choose who they want to follow. And they have to choose. You have to start removing a great deal of stuff before you can go to that part. That's pretty much the end part. But I call it a soul choice. And at that point, your part, when you have all the programming removed, then there's nothing controlling it. Then you ask and you show them the truth. They have to see the truth of both sides and then let them choose. And they usually will never choose Lucifer once they know the truth. And that's such an important part of the deprogramming process.
Okay, well, that goes to another question. I guess then we could probably wrap this up. But so if we have these altars and they're being utilized for, like, say, a cyborg, I mean, or that's probably not the case for most people in these programs, but utilized in some way that's extremely negative, should we try to integrate with that altar? Maybe try to forgive it and bring it back, bring that aspect back, even if it's violent and abusive, or should we disconnect and just try to send it away, where it's like a
Well,
self?
if it has your humanity, you cannot disconnect from it. But what you can do is take the program out and heal it and give it a choice. What does it want to do once it knows truth? It only knows one truth. It has to be shown the real truth of what is happening. Because if it's an entity, yes, you can cast it out and you don't have, but if it has your humanity, it's you. So you have to heal it. You can't heal it until you start removing the programming. Once the programming is removed, then renouncing all the entities, and then the part becomes more and more aware of what's the truth. See, they're lied to. Every part is. So they need to know what the truth is. And so that's the goal of all of this, is to show them the truth and let them have a free choice. If it's a complete entity and it says it's part of you and it has you and you can't do anything, then you can get rid of it through the power. And you just say, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to depart. That's very simple. But usually it's a lot more. You have to say a little bit more because it's attached to something inside if it doesn't leave.
All right, thank you. So that's it with my questions. Do you have anything else you wanted to go over?
I think we went over quite a bit. I think that's good. I just wanted to make sure that people can, if you have this history, please check, have somebody help you if you can, and see if you have the New World Order programming, because you still have time to remove it. And it's important to remove it before they start activating. And I guess I wish I could tell you, it's only going to be a few people, but every single person that has MKUltra, any kind of mind control through the government, and unfortunately, many military will probably have some kind of microchip or, whatever. They might have a small basic form for this. So you got to check and you got to remove it. So that's all I'm trying to do right now, is trying to help people understand that.
All right. So how can people contact you to learn more about what you do?
I have a Rumble account, and it is Laura J. Worley. It's Rumble, I think, / Laura J. Worley. And then I do have a website that's the same, laurajworley.com. And I do have a YouTube, but the ones that like get serious and talk about things is actually on my Rumble account. And I do have Telegram, where I do post every day. And I post a whole bunch of information that the mainstream media doesn't teach. And so that is, I think it's just Laura Worley on Telegram. And then I'm on others, but I think that's good enough.
All right. Thank you very much. And of course, I'll put the link in the description. So make it convenient for all the audience listeners. So, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here today. I know there's a few people had some questions, but I guess we pretty much covered everything here. Maybe is it okay to stay on for a few more minutes just to answer a few questions? Okay. Well, let's go up here a little bit. A lot of them will probably just be comments. So we've got here, thank you, Space Cadet. The magnet has potential to move anything. Yeah. So certainly trust in your subconscious, your program your subconscious to believe it. So, and here we have, you have to cancel them. Okay. The angelic realms are there. Of course, I find a lot of them they're actually told not to even interfere. They just, if we're about to be run over by a car, that your guardian angels are told not to do anything about it. So, I hate to say it, I have some issues with a lot of the angelic realms. A lot of them have never even lived a human existence, and we're wanting to help them save us. So, but I feel like there is a lot of good out there. So that at least within the bounds that they can operate. Question from Antoinette. Looks like you always rebelled, went against everyone. Were we breaking the mind control, fighting it? I think it had more to do with just soul experience. If you come from a realm, like for me, my soul was not even from this dimension. That's why I'm not necessarily subject to laws of physics here. And that's why we were considered ascendant machine technology, because we had abilities that other people don't have. So as far as fighting it, we just simply, it never stuck. There's a lot more to it, and I'm not going to go into that right now, but you can check out the book, Lone Wolf, learn more. So let's see if we have a question here for Laura. Here's another comment. Thank you very much, Space Cadet. Anyone? Okay, here we go. How about this one? Where does free will come into this? What do you think, Laura?
Into the programming, or just in general?
I guess, yeah. If you've been programmed and you don't, like I said, you do not consent, but yet they're still utilizing you. How come how about this? Let's put it this way: the karmic councils, they're supposed to keep judge you when you die and go pass on to the astral realms and so on. But I reached out to the karmic councils and asked them to intervene, and their response was, "It's your problem, and you have to learn how to fix it yourself." So yeah, so the higher realms, they really don't want to assist. They don't want to get involved. They think we need to learn our lessons, and yeah, so yeah,
well, free will is a gift, first of all. Like, we inherited that just because we're a human being. We have free will. That's our gift. Nobody can take it away, but they can manipulate it and make us believe they have. Free will, as far as MKULTRA, they will basically just create a part that will agree. So it's not like your soul being your soul choice to agree, but they create a part that will agree. And at a certain age, they pretty much taught you to obey. So you're not really fighting anymore at a certain age. In the teenage years, you pretty much have accepted this is your life. You feel you probably can't be saved, and why not just do it, right? Consciously, though, is a different choice. And that, I believe, your consciousness is your free will.
All right.
So,
well, what do you think about right frequencies? Do you utilize any of these different?
I really think they're good. The only thing, I really believe in frequency healing. I don't have a Rife machine, but I have a friend that has one that really uses it. I like Healy frequency, but I don't think it's very powerful. So yeah, I believe in them. Definitely. Because this is all frequency, right? They're using frequency against us, by the way, just to let you know. A lot of program people are being not shot, but sent frequencies all day long to control their mood. And I mean, they've been doing that for a long time. Oh, your voice went off.
Sorry. What do you think about the black lights with the luciferase in them? Do you have any information what that's about? Is that
Black lights?
Yeah, like the street lights that are black.
Oh, no, I don't know that much about them. I do know that AI programming is getting huge. And I'll tell you a story, and it's really sad, but I believe it. There's a girl who gave a testimony that she was born in a AI womb. So she was not born like somebody, they created the father, the mother, they created, but they put this in an artificial room, and this was 30 years ago. And she grew in that. And when they taught her all these things. And then when she was 4 years old, she was given to a family. So they've been doing this crap for a long time. And if you know about all the things they're trying to do with AI, they've already been doing them. They put microchips in so many people, that they can control. You don't do it. They just turn off the microchip. That's why they want all the nanoparticles and everybody, so they can control your mood. And
yeah, and they're even trying to create an artificial brain based on AI. But the results of the project is basically going to be a failure, because you need to have the consciousness, the soul aspect.
If you listen to that guy that is Klaus, Schwab, what is his name?
Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab, his little puppet. That is it, Harry guy, or I can't remember, but anyway, he is like probably 40 years old, and when you listen to him, it's like listening to today's Hitler. I'm telling you, it's insane what they want to do with AI.
All right. Anti-Venom Adams would like to know, how do you know if you've been programmed? I'm assuming with the New World Order programming, or just programmed in general. And we've already mentioned missing time, missing memories, but go ahead.
Yeah. The first thing is that you're even asking that question. And I think it's a part of your unconscious mind trying to help you to wake up. Because if you don't have this, honestly, you're not listening to this show. I don't know. Hopefully I shouldn't say that. Maybe I'll take that back. But in some ways it's very true. Is at an unconscious level, you're drawn to this information. And I would just have to ask you why. Why are you drawn to this kind of information? Because so many people are not, because they don't have it in their history. So I think the people that come to listen to this is because there's something there. I don't know what, but hopefully that wasn't hard to take. But I think the first thought is you're asking. And then try the unconscious stuff. Just the first thought, have somebody help you. Just ask questions and see what your unconscious mind says. Your unconscious mind will tell you the truth. That's just so simple, but it will work.
Great. Okay, let's go to this next question. Why are evil entities allowed to get involved, but good entities don't get involved? What do you think? Do you think good entities are not getting involved, or?
Well, I wouldn't use the word entities. I would say the angels from heaven are willing to assist us, but we have to ask permission. They're not going to take our free will. Entities that are evil, on the other hand, will always take our free will. So there's the difference. And the other times, sometimes, you can ask for help and receive it. And sometimes it's not okay for them to help. So I don't know. Is that kind of answering it? I don't know if it is.
It's good. All right. So can we learn something from deep state in terms of mind and how to program subconscious mind? I think the question is related to how I guess the way that we're programmed by society in general. We can also use that in a reverse form, where we can teach others as well. And that's partly what we're doing here, by informing people that there is an alternate resistance, I guess you can say, against this whole programming. We want people to become aware so that they can fight it themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely, because I'll tell you, one of the things that I do in my tapping is we'll get rid of the negative event, and then we'll put in something positive. So, so what I ask my clients, I'm like, "What would you like in the future? If nobody could tell you no, and you could not fail, what do you want?" So make it really good, because just as your unconscious mind has a bunch of bad and it's created bad for you, it can create the good, but you have to put it in there. Because so many people, I swear, when I ask them, "What do you want for your future that's good?" and their answer is, "I don't know." Well, if you don't know, how can your mind do it? So if you want to create something good, you need to start teaching your mind. But the reason why that doesn't always work is because the bad is still there. You have to remove the bad so you can put in the good. That's because the bad will usually always win.
So, do you have any stories of from any of your clients you worked with that you feel is especially memorable, that would be able to help us in general? Yeah, obviously keeping confidentiality, but
Well, I mean, I can just tell you simple things is you can learn how to tap for yourself, and you can change a lot of negative memories you have. And I'm not just talking about programming. I'm talking about just negative events in your life, period. You can change how you feel and think about it by this process, because you're tapping on meridian systems right here and underneath your collarbone, and then you end by your wrist. Okay. So we're telling the unconscious mind to think about this, to let it go. And then I say different things, but basically you're just being aware of what's going on inside of you, feeling, thinking, everything. Once you're aware and you understand, that's all you need. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Peace. I can do that with an angry emotion. Like if I feel angry, I can do that and tap until it's gone. It usually takes a couple minutes. But even if it took 20 minutes, isn't it worth it to get rid of horrible feelings of any kind? You can go to any event. I've seen probably close to almost 2,000 clients in the last 10 years. And we've went to every kind of horrible memory you can think of, and we've changed it. But I didn't change it. That person didn't change it. They changed it in their unconscious. The unconscious mind did it automatically when we remove the emotions. And so that's what I learned. If the negative emotions is what keeps the unconscious mind stuck. So it's what you think about what happened to you. It's what you feel about what happened to you that keeps you there. So we go to the event specifically, and we will just tap until the unconscious mind keeps changing it in every round, like anger. Now I'm sad. And now, I guess I'm neutral. Oh, well, now it's happy because I can see it differently. And, mom was yelling at me, but she really does love me. So it's okay. I'm fine. We're both happy. You see smiles on the face. Now, that was a very quick description of where we start and where we end, but you can do that with any memory. And I have cleaned up so many memories of myself. Like I had memories of things that I did not understand yet, that were about rituals. And I thought they meant something else, but I cleaned up all the emotions. So the programming wasn't really anything. But when you're purposefully, you know what you're doing, you have programs that you want to remove, you can remove it the easy way that I showed you, and then see what the emotions are left. But these are the most two easy ways you can do a lot for yourself to help yourself feel better. And even if you don't know anything that's happened to you, you just know you don't feel good, just focus on that and just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Body code can help you as well. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Body code can show you how to remove things and it's very, very easy. It's so simple, but gosh, you guys, I spent 30 years trying to find anything that would work, and this actually works, and it's simple. And isn't that really the real ones that work are the simple things? It's not these, they have to be so freaking complicated. And yes, I've seen so many people change their lives in amazing, amazing, amazing ways. And so that's why I love it. And that's why I teach it. So
excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Laura, for coming on here today, and we'll be sure to check out your work.
Thank you.
I think we're going to go ahead and close down all the questions, for any more future questions, or at least for this show. But audience members, be sure to subscribe to the channel, depending on where you are. I think you might have to make sure you go over to Rumble if you could, because I have no idea how long this is going to last here on YouTube. I think we're safe. I think I'm going to leave this one up on YouTube, because yeah. But also be sure to visit my website, supersoldiertalk.com, and go check out some of the articles on there. All the videos are there as well. And be sure and go to neologicaltech.com. You can get a copy of my book or one of the meditation cubes to help support the work that I do. And yeah, so that's all we have for now. And I guess that would be it for. I'm just trying to think about who's coming up in the future. I think I have a Jimmy Payne interview scheduled. I think around May 20th. So this might be the last live stream for a while. But we're going to go into the Apollo 20 mission. But I don't know if people in there are Jimmy Payne fans. But anyway, we'll all see you later. So thank you very much, Laura. So just stay on now. I will cue in the conclusion. Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.